Hey. All right, can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. Let me put you in the spotlight here. Oh, look at you. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm excited. You know, I'm always excited, so.
Oh, yeah. So everybody listen, we're back now. We're about to close it out today. And Ebony, I want to introduce you, just give you a brief introduction to Ebony. Ebony, I'm gonna let you do your own introduction, okay? But I can say that Ebony is dispute master of all areas of credit repair and not just Metro 2. Now, Metro 2 is a thing that she kind of specialized in for a while now. And that's why I wanted her to speak on this particular subject, because there's a lot of hype about the Metro 2. It kind of went down, the hype on Metro 2. It was a lot of hype a couple years ago. But I want Ebony to help you guys understand what is this Metro 2 coding, how does it relate to disputing and this sort of thing. And I wanted to bring her on so she can teach you guys for the next 50 minutes Metro 2 coding. Ebony, are you ready to take over?
I am ready. I'm all good. Let's go.
Right. So let's go. Let me get out of here and let you do your thing. Take care.
Okay. All right, you guys. Hey. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for those of you who don't know me. I'm Ebony Dubois. I've been coaching for credit repair companies for the last decade, but I've been doing credit repair and teaching credit repair since mid-1990s. So I'm telling my age there. So although I may look like one of your kids, I am not. My kids are about 27 and 28 now. So that way we can get that out the way. So I really want to just come in here and talk to you and present a little bit about the ABCs of Metro 2. So on my screen, I'm going to bring up a PowerPoint. I know you guys are like, we've seen so many PowerPoints today, but they've been really well put together. And I really want for you guys to have the same experience that I've been having while I've been watching these trainings. So I wanted to put it together so that it would flow in decent order, so that you can follow along, so that it'll make sense. And so it'll be what you can implement and put together in your business. Now, I know Mark was able to move himself out the bottom corner of his box for his PowerPoint. I'm gonna have to figure that out because I didn't know that could be done. So we'll see if I can move my box away from the bottom when it gets in the way, because it is most definitely going to get in your way.
Yeah, you can shrink it, Ebony.
Okay. When I saw you do it, I was like, all right.
Yeah, you can shrink the box.
I need to learn.
Yeah, your thing is still starting, the screen sharing.
Yeah, it's going to come up in a second. Once it comes up, I'm going to be able to just kind of touch on some things briefly. Obviously, in 50 minutes, I can't cover everything Metro 2, but I feel like I can give you a good basis for what you're looking at, okay? All right, so I see me now, and I see how to shrink me down some. All right, I got it. So I'll shrink me down, and when I'm in the way, I'll move me out the way. All right, so I'm on top of it now. So I just want to say again, I'm excited to be here. I'm normally on 10. This is my normal run, okay? So I want to make sure that you're aware that this energy that you're getting is where I pretty much live, okay? So I don't really have a lower energy vibe. So for those of you who like people on a 2, bear with me, focus on the message and less on the messenger. And I just want to say that. All right, let's get going. All right, so who is this training for? This training is for CROs, okay? Credit repair organizations to have a better understanding of the Metro 2 coding system. It's to leverage the information you need to understand. The outcome that I'd really like for you to have is I want you to have clear, actionable answers to your Metro 2 questions on coding without wasting hours and hours of time looking for information online, in Facebook groups, just having general conversations with other CROs, because what I find is that you'll find conflicting information. And when you find conflicting information out there, who do you believe? Well, my answer is simple. I'd very much like you guys just to follow the actual regulation. I'd like you to follow the actual documents that are put out so that those things can be taken care of, okay? Without you becoming frustrated and following the wrong person, because it's okay to be a copycat as long as you copying the right cat. So when you're following someone else, it's not always great. So when you're dealing with something that's new to you in your business and your structure, I want you to really try and pay attention to where you get your information from and your details. So you want to feel confident that your business can leverage the information for your client's benefit. So when I say leverage the information for your client's benefit, I really mean that I want you to be able to take the information, apply it to your letters, figure out how to incorporate it into your process so that you can maximize getting a higher deletion ratio based off mistakes, errors, misleading information, and information that is not disclosed properly. And I really truly believe that sometimes this information can be leveraged for what is being disclosed properly. So you want to stop hesitating when you need to explain the process to your staff, your company virtual assistants of your desired outcome. I don't know if you've had this conversation with people, but if you have this conversation with people in the industry and you ask them, what is Metro 2 coding? You get deer in the headlights. People freeze. They're not actually sure how to answer it. They don't actually know what it is. They definitely do not know how to leverage it, but they've gotten them hands on some letters and they think, okay, you just mail these letters, but they don't really understand what the makeup of it, and they don't understand the why. So I wanted to take some time and kind of explain the why to you today so that you don't have that hesitance, so that you can be confident in your business, so that you can display that confidence to other people. So I really want to make sure that I'm clear on that with you guys. So which one of these are you? Okay. So as I go through this, you guys are going to add a 1 or a 2 into the chat. Okay. Are you a 1 if you're holding yourself back from starting in business because you do not understand everything involved to make an informed decision? If that is you, give me a 1 in the chat. Okay. If you're a 2, you've started your business already, and maybe you even have an LLC. However, you feel that you're missing strategies and how to plan to leverage the information you know. I love it. We got a lot more 2s than 1s today. I love it. We've got a 2.5. Y'all just be adding stuff. You look like I got this. I got half my strategy, got my LLC, got my business together. I love it. All right. So I appreciate that. Got a 2.9 in the chat. Y'all so awesome. Y'all just be adding numbers. They was like, if the score is a 10, I'm a 12, baby. I love it. All right. It's not your fault if you're outsourcing. It's not for you if you're outsourcing your clients to another company. This training isn't going to be something you're going to be able to implement. It's not going to be something you're going to be able to put into action if you send your clients to another company, because you cannot dictate what the outsourcer does. That's not what happens. Now, if you have an internal processor that's a VA that works for you within your company, you can dictate some things, but you can't dictate it to an outside outsourcing company. This is not for you if you're not interested in crafting custom letters yourself. If you hate writing letters, if you hate content, if you hate doing research, if you hate getting that credit report and breaking it down and figuring out how to leverage the errors and the mistakes that you see, this is definitely not going to work out for you. Not this hour. The rest of it, yes, but not this one. All right. This is for you if all the letters that you need are crafted internally by you and your staff. So even if you have a VA and you have a VA who crafts your custom letters, this will work for you. If you desire to maintain the ability to communicate clearly and reach desired outcomes for the client, this is definitely for you. If you feel like you get stuck when you're trying to explain something to someone, this is definitely for you, okay? Because I'm really big on communication. I'm really big on customer service. So I want to make sure that you guys grasp it and that you work through this with me, because I really feel like it's important. All right. There will be some things I will not be able to cover because this is just a 15-minute session. So I won't be able to cover everything, but I do believe that I'll be able to cover enough so that you can understand that this is the beginning of the process and not the end of the process. So work with me here. And as you have questions, you can add them into the chat, and I will make sure that I circle back to the chat at the end and I get to those questions, okay? All right, so does any of these statements sound familiar to you? Metro 2 doesn't exist. The credit bureau does not have to follow Metro 2 guidelines. You can't go to court with a Metro 2 letter. And then you got to figure out what's true versus what's not true. So a lot of people have these conversations out there on Facebook and social media. And I want you to know that the Metro 2 standard is a real thing. It really exists. It even has regulations, policies, manuals that people have to adhere to the guidelines. So it actually does exist. Within the last 30 days, I've seen screenshots of messages of people saying it was fake, it wasn't real. And they say that because they don't understand it. You guys remember when everybody thought the planet was flat? And then they thought everybody was crazy because it was round? It's like that when you pioneer something. It's like that when you're breaking into something new. No one's going to believe you. No one's going to have faith in you. No one's going to support you because your vision isn't theirs. So they can't see the concept of it, okay? So you'll hear crazy things as you proceed in this business. Just know, look it up for yourself, read it for yourself, and then make that determination for yourself. All right, the credit bureaus, do they have to follow Metro 2 guidelines? So let's be clear. The reporting and the coding that goes in the system is how those guidelines are enforced in the system. The problem is you can't see the coding. Only people who work in real estate get to see the coding. So unless you're working with someone who's helping people get houses, you may or may not ever see the actual credit report that holds the coding. So I want to be very clear. So you might be wondering, is it possible to use smart credit? Is it possible to use identity IQ? It is possible. You just have to craft your letters a little bit different than that, okay? But if you're working on a home buyer in process, you're going to see these credit reports with the coding. And you won't have to lock up and freeze when you see it because you'll understand the resources and how to understand what it means. You'll understand the resources and figuring it out. All right. So you can't go to court with a Metro 2 letter. There is some truth in that. The first letter that you send out should be a factual dispute letter. If you're positioning your client to go to court, that is absolutely true. What happens is when you go to court and you have a Metro 2 letter and you can't even articulate to your client what happens in the Metro 2, you can't afford an expert witness to testify about Metro 2 coding, the judge isn't going to understand. And confusion equals a no. You ever hear the saying, a confused client won't buy? It's the same thing. If the judge is confused, they're not going to side. If the attorney doesn't understand the letter, they can't take it to court and position it. That's why it's always best to use a factual dispute letter, starting out if that's where you want to end up. My personal opinion is combine the letter with factual dispute. There's no reason to send a straight Metro 2 letter anywhere. It doesn't always meet your needs. It doesn't always cover everything. And I'm not trying to, rain on anybody's parade because I know a lot of you love Metro in here. I love Metro, okay? Spend the last 8-9 years of my life training people in Metro on how to use Metro. So I want to make sure I'm clear here. It doesn't cover everything if we're honest. If you're able to merge things and make it work out, it's even better, okay? So I just kind of wanted to go through some myths real quick and kind of clear those things up with you. So that way you can start positioning your mindset to let some of that stuff go. And this stuff is out there in the industry. Last time Tariq was here, he covered why the Metro 2 letter hadn't been successful in court, but and he needed it to be a factual dispute letter first. So I did know that from the last time I seen him speak. I think we were on the stage. No, he came last time. Then I think I was with him a time before, a couple years ago. I think maybe before COVID. So maybe you're dreading even the thought of adding another layer to your business. Sometimes you guys just get really overwhelmed with this new trend or this new item or this new process or this new procedure that's out there. It's very possible. So this is a good way for you to listen, for you to grasp and understand if this is a strategy you want to implement. Is it something you want to do? When will it become applicable? And when do you want to add it? So these are all signs that if your answers have been like, yeah, you're thinking about it, these are all signs that you might be missing information that you need to decide about your business strategy, right? So if I've said anything to you that made you question what I said, made you have a small aha moment, then I want you to know and understand that you might be missing information that you need so that you can decide and go forward. So the screen right now, Kurt, is red on one side and black on the other side. It has words up. It's a PowerPoint. Come out, go out and come back in, and maybe that'll fix it. Also, Zoom had an update earlier this week, so you might be missing the update. Pull out, update, and come right back in. Okay. This is not your fault, you guys, for anything that you don't know, because you don't know something till you hit a roadblock and you realize you don't know it. All right. So take your time, take in the information, and go from there. All right, so right now, Metro 2 compliance coding is not designed to be accessible. It's not. It's not designed for everybody to see it. That's not how the Metro 2 coding system is set up. So a lot of people feel like if it's the standard, why can't the general public have access to it? And they can't. So access to the Metro 2 format is limited to employees of companies that furnish data to consumer reporting agencies in the Metro 2 format, data processors who furnish data to consumer reporting agencies in the Metro 2 format, software vendors who provide Metro 2 programming software, and consumer reporting agencies that accept it. That's it. It is not designed for the average consumer, which is why it's really hard to get a company to adhere to that standard, okay? So I just wanna be clear on why it's frustrating to people, why people have a hard time believing in it, because they couldn't. Awesome, Kurt, awesome. So I just wanna make sure that you guys grasp that and know that, because a lot of the time when we can't see something, we have a hard time believing that it's real. It's real, it's out there, it's just not designed for the public. It's not designed for the consumer. Okay, so I just want to make sure you know who it's designed for. All right, traditional factual disputing. The method works very well for businesses. You know why it works well? It's been in play for decades and decades, okay? It already has precedence in court. So judges know what to do when they see it. They can reference other court cases when they see it. It makes life a whole lot simpler and easy because it already has the precedent built, because they already understand the rules, because they already understand how long these letters have been circulating, how long the FCRA has been out, how long FICO has been in process. So there's a good understanding because those judges have credit. Those judges have to apply for homes, cars, so they have a general understanding already. So when you walk in and have a conversation about a violation that's a factual dispute, it makes it go a lot easier, okay? So factual dispute is so established that these letters would allow you to go to court with violations right away. Where Metro 2 coding is a fight, it doesn't let you go to court directly. So the reason is very simple and direct, well-known and understood when it's factual. When it's Metro, it is not clear, it is not well-known, because guess what? It's not open to the public. It's not. So guess what? The judge is not a CRA. The judge is not a data furnisher. So you have to be able to prove your case based off information that you truly don't have access to. So that is one of the things that I kind of wanted to balance out and compare for you guys, okay? The fact that Metro 2 standards were adopted by the credit bureau doesn't mean that the court sees it that way, okay? Because the court sees it as long, confusing, and repetitive, okay? The court does not see it as clear, concise, and direct, which is what factual is. That is why we do it the way we do it. So I want to make sure, can you do it with Metro? Absolutely. If you're going to become a subject matter expert, If you're going to dive into it for endless hours until you understand it, if you're willing to go through the manual and break it down and then get yourself to a point where you can converse and have a conversation. Absolutely. So I decided to change how I communicate about Metro 2 coding by meeting with CRO companies where they are and taking the time to explain about leveraging the resources in their environment with a lower barrier of entry. Okay. So what I mean by that is a lot of the words, the jargon, the process, it's on 10 and nobody's breaking it down to level 3. So it was my desire to meet with people repetitively over and over and over again. Every time I redo my process, I meet people one-on-one. Every time I redo my process, because I want to make sure that I got the feedback in real time. I want to make sure that I'm talking to people. I want to make sure that I can see their face in a Zoom. I want to make sure I get it, they understand. I want to be able to ask questions and have them ask questions back. So that was what I decided to do. So I'm a coach. I've gotten several awards from the credit community over the years. I've been present in multiple settings. I am over maybe 20,000 people on Facebook in various groups. I join the community. I do community service. I have a ministry at the Church for Credit. So in case you were like, who's this lady still talking? I'm somebody that you can definitely trust. I'm somebody you can definitely listen to. I'm somebody who definitely gives you the reference point. So I wanted to make sure you're aware of that. I put a few references in here. I've been doing this for the last decade. So 2 of these reviews are from yesterday, and 2 of these reviews are from 2019, because I wanted to show you that there were some before and there's some as early as yesterday. Because I'm still out there, I'm still meeting with clients, I'm still teaching, I'm still instructing, I'm still pushing forward, okay? So I just wanted to come in here and just show you that people need to show up with receipts. A lot of our clients come to see us and meet with us, and they've got 50 pages of proof of why we can't trust them and they don't pay their bills. And then they want to interview us thinking we're a scam, but they showed up with proof that they don't pay their bills. So I like to show up with my receipts that I teach. I like to show up with my receipts that I'm in this and that I'm in this long term, and I'm not just showing up so that I can disappear, okay? All right. So you might be like, how do I contact you? I put my contact in here in the middle because I figured now you guys will be paying attention to me. I didn't need it at the beginning. I needed it right here so that y'all can pay attention. So on Instagram, I'm at I am Ebony Dubois. I'm the same thing on TikTok. I'm actually the same thing on Clubhouse. And I put my SMS number in here and my email in here, and I have a Facebook group as well that doesn't charge, okay? So you can join me there. I am hired to coach people who are starting out and current businesses who want to expand to 6 figures and beyond. So I just wanted to drop that there so that you guys can screenshot it. I'll bring it back up at the end, but I felt like you needed to know what I had to say before you knew where to research me and look me up, because some of you at the beginning may not have wanted to know where to find me yet. So I hope by this point of the presentation, you want to know where to find me, okay? Thank you, Andrew. Andrew's some of the best. Been with Andrew for years. Okay, so I have a few things that the top 2% people in my program have accomplished, and I just wanted to share what some of the people in my program have accomplished. Some of them have become coaches themselves. Some of them have left their 9 to 5 and then started outsourcing businesses themselves and making more than 6 figures. So I'm really excited. And when I say top 2%, however you want to do it, okay? So when I say that to you, think about that. If I tell you I've coached hundreds of companies, okay, and only the top 2% go out and execute, only the top 2% are up at the computer till they fall asleep at night, putting in the work and putting in the time, paying a coach, paying a mentor, seeing a mentor, that doesn't get you where. Putting the work gets you where you need to be, okay? So normally it's only the top 2% that are really going to thrive and really come out the gate. And I've been fortunate enough to coach some of those top 2%. So I'm really excited. I'm glad they're still in my circle because I make sure I call them. All right. So what if you can feel confident that if COVID happened again and everything got shut down and there wasn't a person available, your business can still thrive? Because mine thrived during COVID. The reason mine thrived was because I had Metro 2 coding in my letters. So all I needed was the actual software. I needed the bureau system. The OCR system is the bureau scanning system. It feeds it into eOscar. The computer reads through the digital message, and then it pulls out what it wants to be deleted. So a supervisor may come in the morning and spot check 6,000 deletions. And I'm just saying 6,000, it might be 600. They spot check those 600 deletions to see where they are, and then they let them go through, because they don't go through every deletion. So when a person wasn't in the office, I was still getting deletions because I wasn't using 20 staples, perfume, lipstick, and well wishes. I was actually putting the work in and moving forward. So I want you to be able to put the work in and move forward as well. So here's what makes coding different for me. And I'll explain things really simple that'll reduce your confusion and increase the chances of your success. That's what makes this different for me, okay? As I share these things with you, my disclaimer is I don't got to tell you I'm not an attorney. You know I'm not. What I do need to tell you is this is how I interpret the information put in front of me. And you guys have to interpret yourselves as well as I give you the information. I am interpreting this information from my point of view, from my perspective, from my experience, okay? All right, words that you will see in the compliance-based letter: current, true, correct, complete, mandated, authority, authorized, certified compliance, questionable, deviation, CDI, which stands for Consumer Data Industry Association, and then CRRG, which stands for Credit Reporting Resource Guide. These are very popular terms that you will see inside of a compliance-based letter. It doesn't mean those are the only terms. You'll see verifiable, validated, all the things that you see in dispute letters too. But I just want to bring this to your attention that you're going to see these things in there, and they're going to be used very aggressively, very matter of fact. And it may sound like, wow, somebody's really upset in these letters, because they are very aggressive, okay? So I just want to be clear, and I kind of want to expose you to some of the terminology that you would see in those letters. Or if you wanted to take these letters and use them in that. Certified compliance is one of the terms that are used in bankruptcy letters, public records. You don't often see tax liens anymore. I've actually only seen 2 tax liens in the last few years, because they usually don't make it on there. I've seen someone with a federal tax lien, and I've seen someone with a state tax lien within the last 6 months. And then before that, it had been 3 years, and before that, it had been 4 years since I ran into that, okay? Darlene said those words work. They do, right? They do have an impact. They do work because they convey something. So the reason it says certified compliance is simple. It's certified compliance because those things have to be certified in compliance to even be there. So that's why. So there's a reason. And there are some things that are mandated that need to be reported. And then there are some sections, you guys, that don't have to be reported. The only way you're going to know is if you look at the manual. So if you look at the manual, you'll know which categories are mandated versus which categories are not required. And they are different based off different categories. Y'all just had a class with Mark where he talked about categories. So those mandated fields change based off categories. All right, let's talk about some coding, okay? Coding that you find on letters and why. So you'll find the letters M for missing, E for possible error, Q is for questionable entry, I is for inconsistent. Someone in the chat during the last class asked if the account number was truncated differently. If you guys don't know what truncation is, it's how many X's are at the end of the account number. There's supposed to be 4 for perfect truncation. But sometimes you guys see 10 X's, and then sometimes you guys see 2 X's. That is definitely inconsistent when it's different on each bureau. But when it's more than 4 X's, it's a truncation violation anyway. It's for privacy that you should have 4 X's. You shouldn't have more, because every X represents 10,000 people, 10,000 possible mixed reports and things like that. So you want to make sure that there's 4 X's. So I was really excited to see that people pointed out these things and asking these questions while Mark was teaching. Okay, N is for not reported. So not reported, or the information was not available, that is for N. And then U is for uncertified or unconfirmed. So if it's a public record, it's probably uncertified. If it's unconfirmed, then it's a questionable thing in there and you need them to confirm that. And then Q is questionable content, okay? Sometimes things are put in there and you really have to pause after you've talked to your client and you're not really sure. I've literally put question marks on my credit report, circled things and sent it in, okay? Just like that. D means it doesn't align with the standard. It deviates from the standard. It's not in alignment with the Metro 2 coding standard that they do have to follow. MX is for a mixed credit file. And then MR is for a merged credit file. So if you're asking what's the difference between a merged credit file and a mixed credit file, if you are a junior, a senior, a second, a third, a fourth, and that is all mixed in, guess what? You've merged. That is actually not a mixed file because there's a merged file because it's someone else in your family with the number that the files have been merged together and they just need to be separated. A mixed file is when information has been mixed with someone of the same name or same last four of the social or things like that. So I just want to point out, these are things that you can put on your actual credit report yourself. You can put them in your credit report yourself if you want to. I'll show you. First, let's talk about base codes. So some of the important factors that I wanted to break down, this is like my little cheat sheet, you guys, okay? So when you're looking at something, there's account type, credit bureau, account status, monthly payment, date opened, balance, number of months in terms, high credit limit, past due, payment status, last reported, and comments. So I want to make sure that you guys understand this is what is on the actual credit report. When you pull up your account and you look at the credit report, these are the sections that run down the credit report for every account, but they all have a base code. The base code is what the eOscar system is interpreting. So think about it this way. If I say something's wrong with my account number, I'm talking to the person who picks up the file, who's got to work at 9 a.m., happy, blessed, and glad they got a job, and they pick it up and they go, oh, the account number is wrong. Let me take a look at that. Now, what if it's not a person? What if it gets scanned in by the OCR, the scan system, and it gets filtered into the eOscar system? Now the computer sees that I've got the account number and the base code. BSCF7 means something wrong with the account. So when the computer scans it and sees the base code, I'm talking to the computer. If a person sees it, that's fine, because now they know which line of the code I have a problem with. If they are at that level that they can handle that, that's wonderful. But if they can't, now I'm covering the person as well as the computer. So I'm covering both at the same time. So I've covered the account type, the date the account opened, I have the base code underneath it. So right underneath it is the base code. And I call this a little cheat sheet because it's all in the manual, but I really wanted you guys to be able to see it together, because just having this little cheat sheet and having it is one thing. I want to show you what that looks like, okay? So I'm going to stop my screen share and I'm going to show you what that looks like, because I really feel like at this point in time, talking is just talk. You need to know what that looks like, okay? So that being said, I'm going to pull up my actual system with Client Dispute Manager.